Hi, this is Dan again from Clean Guru. So today the question is, how many brochures should I send out? And again, remember, we talked about brochures because it really could be marketing pieces, how many phone calls should I make, how many surveys, how many consumer awareness reports, all of these marketing pieces that you're going to have. But how many should you send out? I mean, and again, don't do it the way Tony and I did in the early days. The question was, let's send them all out. Send all we can afford. Don't send any. That's not really a plan. A plan really has to do with knowing why you're sending out the number you're sending out. So let's talk about it a little bit. There's a little bit of work that goes into this, but when you do it and you figure out these certain figures, you'll be able to get a better idea of how many pieces to send out every week or every month. A couple of the pieces of information you need to know are this. You need to start to figure out, if you send out X amount of brochures, X amount of letters, how many people call to ask for a bid, for a request for you to bid? So let's say you learned that if you sent out 50 pieces a week, you actually get 2 calls or requests for you to bid. So that's the first thing you need to know. How many pieces get how many requests to bid? The second thing you need to know is, of the places that you go out to bid on, and when you submit bids, generally how many do you get out of those that you submit? So for example, let's say you sent out 50 pieces a week and you got 2 requests to bid. Well, that would give you about 8 to 10 requests to bid a month, right? 2, essentially 8 to 10 a month. Well, let's say that you land about 3 out of every 10 bids that you put out. So if you're doing 10 requests to bid, you're doing 10 bids a month. Let's say you landed 3 of them. And let's say that you also knew that your average sale was $500 a month is the average sale. Well, 3 accounts that you landed at $500, that's $1,500 a month. So you could anticipate that if you sent out about 50 pieces a week, that would be 200 pieces a month. You'd get about 8 to 10 requests for you to bid a month. You'd land about 3. They would be $500 a piece on average, about $1,500 a month. Now again, this is not carved in stone. This is just an idea. I remember Tony and I, we used to shoot, I think at one point we were trying to grow at about $3,500 a month. Because for us, we learned that we could start about $3,000 or $4,000 of new repeating business every month. So we would just up the numbers to find out how many would we have to send out to get so many bids, to land so many accounts, to land so much new business every month. Now I should say, it won't come in smooth. If it's anything like our experience, and I bet it would be, things don't work out quite that way. There's months that we started $1,500 a month of new business, and there were months that it poured in and we landed $8,500 a month of new business. But at least it's a plan. I mean, it beat the old days of saying send it to everybody versus send it to nobody. It was a plan. So in doing these things and in going through that kind of a schedule or learning those kind of points, you can come up with an idea of how many to send out. The next time, we're going to talk about something that we call make them feel the pain. And I'll explain a big reason why, even though you've explained in your brochure or in your marketing letters all the reasons why a company should hire you, they still don't call. Why don't they call after you explain all of this and you show that you're qualified? Why don't they give you a call? We'll talk about that next time. Until then, remember, you can do this. You really can.